Hi everyone, welcome back to the VSO Gun Channel. Thanks for watching, and today you're watching Gun Groupthink, which is the segment where we talk about misinformation in the firearms space, usually stuff that is self-inflicted, I might say, but the purpose is for firearms education and to ease the general trend of hypersensitivity that is prevailing in our culture and is absolutely destroying it. So if you have ideas for future episodes, sound off in the comment section down below. It also helps us defeat the algorithm and keep things going here on the channel, since everybody's trying to shadow ban us and push us down. You guys can affect that by interacting with the video. Specifically, leaving a comment down below definitely helps. Today, we're talking about picking out your first pistol. And I like to do these in threes, so that's what we're going to be doing today. But before we do, while I have your attention, I want to talk about the Firearms Policy Coalition. Now, straight up, I don't know anybody at FPC. At all. I don't know a single person. I just happen to see the work that they are doing online, and I wanted to bring attention to what FPC is doing because they are the epitome of what a 2A advocacy group should be in today's day and age. So, again, not sponsored by FPC, but instead of giving you a plug to go over to my Patreon and give me some money and keep me going, I would like for everybody to seriously consider looking at the work that FPC is doing and consider supporting them. The first two of our three today are for the general population, and the last one is specifically for women. So 2/3 of firearms owners are men, and 1/3 are women, so that totally works, right? I suppose it could also be used for men that are trying to buy guns for women. But number one, do not impulse buy firearms, or anything for that matter, but specifically firearms. I understand that there are lots of crazy panic buying going on right now, and some things are more difficult to find than they were this time last year. I got it. Quick lecture: proper prior preparation prevents poor performance. Lecture over. You should have bought it a while ago. We're glad you're here. There's several things that I want to unpack when it comes to firearms industry stuff. First and foremost, the dude that is standing behind the counter has a vested interest in getting the money out of your pocket and into the store's pocket. So they will sell you, at least the vast majority of the people who work there, will sell you whatever they possibly can to get the money out of your pocket. You only got $300, they will take your $300 and give you a piece of junk. They will prey on your emotions. So I want you to stop for a second, and instead of impulse buying, I want you to thoroughly research the product that you want. Number two, if you go to, I suppose we should go to A and B. That was A. So B, if the company that you have chosen to patronize will not order the specific product that you desire, then you need to find someplace else to shop. They do not have your best interest in mind. The only exception that I can see to that is if they're taking a principled stance against a particular brand for their political activity. For instance, Springfield Armory products are not welcome on my premises. Straight up. Like, hard stance. Trader brand's not okay. Which brings me to C. C. Is that right? Is that right? C. If a company will not participate in the internet game, as in you purchased the firearm on the internet and then sent it to their shop for the purposes of conducting your legal background check, your legal transfer, all that sort of stuff. If they will not participate in that program, they're taking a political stance against your right to keep and bear arms. And they're disguising it as a monetary impact. And here's how it goes. Let me explain. As an FFL holder, if you purchase a gun off of the internet and send it to my shop to conduct your paperwork, I have no liability. I have no investment in that product whatsoever. I have to get it, write it in my book, and wait for your ass to show up and get it. And then, on top of that, I can charge you whatever the heck I want to transfer that gun. It's just how business works. I can charge you $200 for that thing if I want you to. And what are you going to do? You're going to say, no, I'm not paying that. Well, you're not getting your gun. I'm serious. If a company says that it's not worth their time to conduct your background check, then they are lying to you. They are not charging enough to do your background check. Now, there is a whole economy thing. Fewer people will send you their internet transfers if you charge them $200 to transfer the gun. Straight up. But it is an economy thing. If you're saying that it is not worth your time, then you're not doing it correctly for your business. As a business, if you are not accepting transfers, then you are anti-Second Amendment, period. Get in with the capitalism, folks. Longest topic ever. The last thing I wanted to say with impulse buying is, generally speaking, with impulse buying, there's a cost associated with it. And this is going to get me in some hot water because there's a lot of people who will say that a gun is better than no gun. And I would argue that there is a certain threshold that you should meet. And while there are some cheap alternatives out there, generally speaking, the industry standard is about $500. All right, plus or minus a little bit. But that's about the price point you should be looking to spend. A little less or a little bit more than that. Trust me. Okay, having seen lots of different guns over the course of my career, it is in your best interest to treat it as an investment, not as a liability. Your PlayStation is a liability. Your car is an investment. You have a certain standard by which you will accept that your vehicle has to meet so that you can do things in your life like be able to go get food, go to work to be able to earn the money to get the food, things like that. You should think of a firearm as an investment for your future because it may be your words, how to say it right, and not get flagged on YouTube. It might be that button that you have to push because you have no other choice. It needs to do what it's supposed to do when you ask it to do it. Hopefully you never have to do that, but you definitely should think of it in terms of there's a minimum expenditure that is acceptable, and $300 is not it. I'm sorry. God gave man credit cards. Learn how to use them. I'm not advocating going into credit card debt. Use them right. Beat that one to death. Sorry about that, guys and gals. There's a lot to cover in that one. Moving on to number 2. I like this one because it fits my hand well. Wow, I like this thing because it fits my hand. Wow, this thing really fits my hand. My gosh, it just feels good in the hand. Imagine creating a product that has a place designed for your hand to fit, and it actually fitting your hand. I'm sorry, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what it means to put a gun in my hand and be like, wow, that just feels... It has a grip on it where your hand is supposed to go. There could be an argument to be made that you get a little bit sloppy if it fits your hand too well. Like if it actually... You want it to be a little bit uncomfortable because you can be cognizant of how you're holding it. So there could be an argument, some like Spartan-esque people would argue that the gun should be less comfortable than ultra comfortable. But that is not the aspect by which you should shop for handguns. How this thing fits in your hand is not something that you should be looking for. That is not a criteria. In fact, when I hear it in videos, it makes me want to hurl. I mean, I cringe every single time I hear somebody say, wow, it really fits in my hand. No. What you should be looking for isn't how it fits in your hand or trying to alter this to make it fit in your hand better. People who cut off their finger grooves drive me insane. I really don't know. They've never trained in their life. What you should be looking for is how it plays with your hand size. So, for instance, the guns that I have to stay away from are anything with a very tiny slide. CZs, for instance. The slide sits inside of the frame and it makes it very thin. So what happens when Curtis goes to rack the slide the correct way, which is over the top, I end up going over the slide and grabbing the frame because the frame protrudes more than the slide. So what you want to do when you shop for a particular handgun is you should handle it safely, but then you should be looking at things like, hey, is there room for my thumbs? For instance, if I pick up this P7, this is borderline for me because I have very large hands, okay? This is also known as a squeeze cocker. If I do this, see where my thumb is? Okay, it's pretty close to the end of the gun, okay? This is safe, this is fine. But if I go any smaller than this pistol, then I start to run into ergonomic issues with how my thumbs stack on the gun. So that is how you should be shopping for classifications of guns, is how do they work with your hands, not how does the grip feel in your hand. That's nonsense. And number 3 for our ladies out there, and I suppose this could be also for their guys or their girlfriends. There's nothing wrong with that. Same team. It's all good. Women should have revolvers. There are two topics that we got to cover here, and they're pretty much equally as bad, but we're going to get them both. First one is the slide's too hard to operate. Yes, statistically speaking, women do have a harder time operating the slide, but that also goes for older folks, people with compromised grip strength, etc., etc. You're doing it wrong. You were taught to do it wrong, or you weren't taught at all. And that's okay. We're going to fix that here today. But I would also say that there are products out there that are specifically designed, this one is not one of them, sorry Magnum Research, that are specifically designed for people with compromised grip strength. And what I mean by that is not adding a product to your gun to make it easier to rack. That is not okay. Don't ever do that. Okay, I'm talking pistols built from the ground up, again, not this one, to be easy to rack. First step, take your accessory hand, your offhand, and touch your collarbone with it, right like this. Point your elbow at the target area, and what you've done inadvertently is engaged a whole lot of muscle mass. So if you look, you get your pec, your bicep, your delt, and all the flexor muscles in your forearm are now invested in this. And compared to the muscle that's going to actually do the action, our tricep on our shooting hand, we've got basically an immovable object. There's so much more invested mass here in strength than in our shooting hand. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pistol, bring it up to that hand, and all we're going to do is grip and push until it rips out of this hand. You will never, unless there's some major problem with the gun, you will never have a problem generating enough force to rack your slide. Ladies, don't get put in a box just because people know more about a topic than you do because you're new to it or you weren't interested in it in the past. Well, now you're here. We're glad that you're here, and we don't want you to get taken advantage of. So, and B, on this topic, to close this out today, women got to shoot revolvers because they're simple. And it goes bang every time. There are too many buttons and switches on the side of this gun for her to figure out. Really? I have witnessed women talk on the phone, listen to the radio, put their makeup on, schedule all the activities that we're going to do for the rest of the month, all while driving down the road without hitting anything. I can barely keep between the red and the white, or the orange and the white. Is it orange? Yellow and white. I can barely keep between the yellow and the white, and you think that she can have problems trying to figure out what the slide release, the safety, and the trigger do. What planet are you from? Welcome to 2021. It's 2021.